This is a presentation about the No Child Left Behind Act. My name is Anthony Grandinetti and I'll be the one presenting this. First, a little background on No Child Left Behind. It was a legislative act passed in 2002 by then President George W. Bush, and it was put in place as a response towards this push for standardized testing that was going across the country. As more schools wanted standardized testing, the federal government stepped in to help them achieve these goals with standardized testing, as well as provide funding. They also wanted to make the education available to all students. This act applied to the general education students, as well as special ed, ELL, and all other subgroups. What caused it to come about was that schools were moving towards this standardized test. It was passed to amend the Elementary and Secondary School Act of 1965. So this was something that was long overdue in the world of education. It's helping the schools and meet the needs of the students. And its main goal was to treat all students fairly and equally, making sure that they all had an equitable education. These are the requirements that schools had to meet with No Child Left Behind, or Nclb. First, states must test students in reading and math in grades 3 through 8th, and once again in high school. These are the state tests, so in Arizona it was Ames, and now it is AZ Merit. And they have to take these tests in reading and math from 3rd grade all the way through 8th grade, and then once again in high school. Once those tests are taken, schools have to report the results for the entire student population as well as the subgroups. That would be the English language learners, the SPED, and any other subgroups those schools may have. So when they publish all of this, they're looking to see if the whole school is meeting the requirements as well as all those separate subgroups. Again, more requirements for this. The goal is to bring all students to the proficient level on the state test by the 2013-2014 school year. Unfortunately, this requirement was not met by then. Only about 70% of the schools met that requirement. Schools are kept on track to their goal through a rating system known as Adequate Yearly Progress, or AYP. This is what the schools are using to measure that growth and to make sure they are seeing growth in their students from those basic levels up to the proficient level. States are also required to make sure their teachers are what they call highly qualified, meaning they have a degree in the subject they're teaching as well as the state certification. This is to ensure that the students are being taught by the best possible people. However, there are some downsides to it. If a school can't meet its requirements and make those AYP scores for 2 years or more, there are penalties and sanctions that can be put into place. One is that it would allow students to transfer to better performing schools in the district. The schools would have to offer free tutoring to students who are struggling. If it continues to be a persistent problem, states can choose to shut down these schools. They could also make them into charter schools. The school district can take them over and run, or the state can take them over and run it themselves. This could mean replacing the administration or several or all teachers. And if this is a continued problem for these schools, some of their federal Title I money that they're using to help fund programs will have to be set aside for tutoring and school choice programs until these schools are meeting their AYP goals. As far as funding for No Child Left Behind, the government had planned to increase school funding for this, with a goal being set at $25 billion. Unfortunately, they were never able to meet that funding goal, where in actuality it was about $10 billion less than that, at $14.5 billion. The result of this lack of funding was that the schools were still expected to meet the goals of No Child Left Behind. So regardless of the funding situation, the schools were still expected to meet these goals and continue to meet their AYP or otherwise face sanctions. As No Child Left Behind is being phased out now, it still has an impact on our current curriculum. It has put a focus on state tests, specifically in the reading and math area, since these are the tests that are being tested nationwide. So it has put a lot more pressure on those reading and math teachers to make sure their curriculum aligns with those state tests. But it has also affected other testing areas, or non-testing areas, I'm sorry. Other contents are now being tasked to support these tested areas. So science is trying to help support math, and social studies is helping to support reading and writing. This is giving the students the best possible chance to succeed on these tests. There have been some benefits for the students. The biggest one is it's making it a level playing field for all students. So it doesn't matter your socioeconomic condition, your race, your gender, if you're special ed or gifted. All students are being treated fairly. Is one of the pros with this. It allows for inclusion of all students with the testing. So it doesn't matter if you're the lowest of the low or the highest of the high, you still get to take those same tests, albeit you will have accommodations if you're used to them. The downside has been looked at by many of the special ed educators is that because it's being more standards based, it doesn't meet the individual needs of those special ed students. In the future, No Child Left Behind was replaced in 2015 with the new Every Student Succeeds Act. This has not been fully implemented, and it won't be until the 2017-2018 school year. So until then, schools are still following that No Child Left Behind initiative, but the plan will be to look at the new laws, see what the requirements are, and then adapt and adjust the curriculum as they see fit to come into compliance with these laws. Why was this topic included in our list? It had a big impact on curriculum across the country. It caused a shift in the way the curriculum was taught, not just in one individual state, but almost all states across the country. It also has an impact on how schools are funded, run, and staffed. So no longer are schools just spending the money how they want and staffing whoever they want. They're trying to make sure that the money is being used to hire the best possible teachers to meet the needs of those students and to make sure that they're getting the right people to make sure their school is growing and being more successful. So this No Child Left Behind has had a huge impact on teaching, regardless of your content area, if you're a tested or non-tested subject. It has affected all of our students. It has been guiding our instruction for the past years, and it'll be very interesting to see how things have changed or will change once the new act comes into effect next school year. So the references. Thank you for your time.